morning, everybody. Welcome to our title talk. And what do you guys want? Plug it.
Oh wait, we didn't rehearse.
Plug it.
This is today's real Rich T. Kristina G. Now you thought, yeah. Sorry. We're gonna restart this.
We're live.
Kristina G. Rich T.
And it's not Memorex. This is real. So I'm Drew with Inspired Title.
And I'm Amy with Inspired Title.
I'm Rich T.
I'm Kristina G. with Exit Realty
Realty
Solutions.
Solutions.
So we started a half hour later thinking it'd be better. I lied. It's
It's
not.
a terrible idea.
We were looking at this backdrop going, wow, that's kind of cool. You guys have really stepped it up, and we have. We are now joining you from White Hawk in Crown Point, where we are all attending the Denier golf outing.
Woo!
So we're going to go out and hack up a golf course. If there are any sod trucks in the neighborhood, we ask you guys to swing on by because we're going to need to have some sod.
We'll need something.
Right.
Yeah, we'll need something.
Anybody with the tea time in the next 3 days, we're sorry. We apologize now. The course is gonna be jacked.
We're going to
but
do some damage.
We're gonna have some fun.
But,
And we're gonna meet people.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's our key here. Is we're trying to kind of do some networking, and we've kind of put ourselves together with the fine folks of Exit Realty and the fine realtors and Rich and Kristina to see what we see and meet some folks, and hopefully we can grab a couple of people that are coming in here to register to join in our podcast and talk a little bit about the business and the industry. And speaking of the business and the industry, why don't we kind of talk a little bit about that as we just get things started? Have you guys noticed any changes, anything that's been happening different from kind of our last few podcasts? It still seems like the market is incredibly hot, where houses are lasting hours, right? If you guys want to take and talk about that for a little bit, I'll let the realtors go.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, as you said, the market continues to heat up, and we've been talking about the advantage for sellers and buyers on all our podcasts, and that's great. So talking about that month after month, everybody realizes that's where the market is. So what we're going to do is pivot a little bit, and we're going to start talking about our value.
Right.
Our value to our clients. And I'll bring up today, this is important because we get to network. It's a golf outing. Yes, it's fun, but we're networking. And the reason, the advantage
That's why we're here?
That's why we're here.
I didn't tell you that. Yeah, I meant to
You
tell
have
you
to
that.
talk to
Awful.
people.
I didn't get the memo that I actually had to work a little bit.
So yeah, I got a pocket full of business cards. I meet lenders, title company, other real estate agents.
Why would you use any other title company?
I meet them to let them know how great you guys are, and they can learn a few things.
Sure.
Sure.
Nice cover.
Right.
We can edit this.
Yeah, okay,
This is very editable. That's good.
Or just take him out completely if needed. Delete.
Oh, buzzed already. It's so early to be buzzed. So yeah, the more people that we network with, that we build these relationships, the better it is for our clients.
Definitely.
Because I did learn something. I'm gonna just jump in real quick. I was in training yesterday, and there's actually a mortgage lender who is doing the underwriting first.
Yep.
So what happens is, as your clients come in, instead of just being pre-approved or having your approval letter, they're actually gone through underwriting at a bank. And when you submit your offer, you submit that in there saying, hey, my client has not only been pre-approved, but they've also been through underwriting.
Yeah.
The bank has approved them. They're ready to go. The money is good.
Yeah.
Talk about a huge advantage for your clients. And that's the value I'm talking about. I would never have learned that we can do that or should be doing that in this market if I wasn't talking to other professionals.
And that's something that you can talk about, obviously, from the development side.
Right.
Being that you've sold some houses that have been rehabbed and things. We're seeing offers all the time. Go
And
ahead.
that's important. I mean, it's important for you as buyers to be pre-approved. And now, like you said, this is even a bigger step for that. Because sometimes, we'll get offers, 3 or 4 offers. And one of the big things we look at is, are you pre-approved? And then if everyone's pre-approved, then if somebody could say, like, no, we got the money, like, we're ready to close this thing, like, that's a huge advantage.
Oh, yeah, for sure. For sure.
Yeah, because one of the houses that when was it? We sold it last?
Yeah, in hours.
Yeah,
I mean,
in
it
hours.
was
There was
unbelievable.
3 offers.
And
with
she
it.
was solid. She was pretty solid as the approval goes. But I think this is really
This
a
is huge,
step
yeah.
in the direction of helping you guys solidify offers when you're presenting them. I know that you had presented a few offers recently, and it was just a matter of you couldn't get them done because not only was the house not available anymore, but the pre-approval piece was not done because you get down to the nitty-gritty. And why don't you talk about that for what happened to that moment where they weren't able to, financing was an issue, and we even as the title company tried to work through some fees and help them out.
Yeah, just the one that was in Florida that we got the pre-approved. Oh yeah, So obviously pre-approvals are huge. If we don't have a pre-approval, you're kind of wasting like the seller's time, you're wasting your time, our time, because you're going and looking at a house that we have no idea if you can afford. So we had a client come in who had a pre-approval. Shame on me, I didn't fully look at the pre-approval. I just got the letter and said, okay, we're good. So now we send it over. We want to put in an offer. I call the lender, have the client call their lender. Turns out that this lender was from Florida.
Right.
So how did you get a pre-approval letter from somebody in Florida?
Right.
Because you went online. Don't go online. Talk to somebody local.
Right, right.
So then we,
That's a
you
big
know,
thing.
scramble to go ahead and call over the lenders that I predominantly work with, Tommy.
Yeah, we have a couple good ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he ended up getting it through, saved that, but it wasn't going to work because of the money down. Just the whole deal in general just completely crumbled and fell apart at no fault of our own, no fault of the client. Obviously the market is so hot right now, so the seller wasn't really willing to negotiate.
Right, right.
We needed a credit. They weren't willing to give a credit. They wanted that if the house, the offer came in, the offer that we put in was over list, and they wanted that even if it didn't appraise, they wanted my client to pay over appraised value. So yes, can you do that? Sure. Why would you?
Right.
Like, why would I allow my client to go upside down on something right off the bat? That's what happened in '08. Lenders were given,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, the bad thing is like it is a seller's market. Not a bad thing, but a different thing when it is a seller's market. Like they have the power to say
Right.
no, we're not waiting, we're not holding up. Like we have other offers coming in, so we're just gonna.
Multiple, almost
Yeah.
every deal's multiple. Now the buyers got the advantage because of the historic
Definitely.
low interest rates,
Right.
so they're okay.
Right, they kind of
the
balance each
finance-
other.
Right, that's what makes this market so unique and
Yeah.
and amazing.
Well, just thinking about when you guys are talking, the strength of that letter, that approval letter, right?
yeah.
People, I think the general public, they see that, and I think they need to be told and maybe taught a little bit more about what that means, because you're not going to show them a house at the highest point of that level that they're approved for.
No.
But they get all excited about this, and now they're at the cusp of, because the market is what it is, what are you going to do? You're going to put an offer in, and that offer, if it's a multiple offer situation and you're going to give more than what the house is worth, now they've just fallen out of their approval letter.
Right.
So
Yeah. Right,
I think that
outside range.
approval letter needs to be really understood by. I don't think the general public knows what that approval letter is. They go to the bank and they go, I need an approval letter because somebody told me. Can you guys elaborate a little bit more on that? I know you're not mortgage lenders. I mean, and I know a decent amount about it as well, but go ahead.
Yeah, I'll take the realtor angle on it. It's just having that letter and saying, okay, we're pre-approved for $300,000. Now, what? That's the wrong move. That's somebody, a realtor, that's not doing what's in the best interest of the client.
Right.
And I'm going to go back
Right.
on our value. Our value is not just getting a letter and showing homes. Our value is asking the questions, understanding the
Right.
financials,
Right.
communicating that to the clients, seeing where they're at, when they want to move, what's their motivation. We have to really have that good rapport and that understanding with our clients so we can make the best choices with them.
Right.
We could advise them.
Yeah, and then my thing for that, I always explain to the client, so say you do bring me a pre-approval letter and you are pre-approved for $300,000. Does that really mean that you want a $300,000 house?
Right.
Do you want to be at the
That
max?
mortgage, yeah.
What if something happens? What
Right.
if anything were to happen? And then again, it's not, some people take it the wrong way if I'm like, well, what do you have in savings? Are you prepared for this? Are you prepared for that? They think of it like, why are you asking me those questions? And it's more of because that's my job to make sure that I'm not putting you in a house that in 2 years you can no longer afford.
Right.
So for me, if I was pre-approved for, I keep touching the mic. If I was pre-approved for $300,000, I'm gonna go looking at $250,000, $275,000. Because then, especially with now, you're not really going to negotiate down. We're not really asking for
Right.
credits.
You're going up if anything.
Yeah, so it's like, all right, I want the room. I want the room to be able to grow. I personally would not go to that max budget.
Do you guys typically read the pre-approval letters?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, because
So-
they'll tell you contingency.
Exactly.
They'll
Yeah.
tell you amounts.
Whether you need especially with FHA, a lot of times with FHA, you
That's-
have to have
that's
a
awesome.
credit. You have to have a credit.
What's an FHA loan?
Don't do that.
Well, don't
No.
do that with Kristina.
FHA is what? Normally when you have to have 3.5% down,
Correct.
so you're financing what, 96.5% of it.
I wasn't putting you on the spot, I promise.
No, it's okay.
I like the question.
No,
'cause
no,
I'm
it is
I'm
good,
gonna
it's good.
bring
Yeah,
it
just
up.
in
Yeah,
case
it was good.
there's
Thank
people
you.
watching that don't know.
Yeah, so
what
difference
the
between
difference is.
FHA and conventional. Conventional, you're normally putting like 15 to 20% down. With FHA, you don't have to do that. You have a less amount down, and a lot of times we would ask that the seller give you a credit towards your closing costs. So really, it's balancing what your down payment and your closing cost credit, if
Definitely.
that's the right way of
Yeah.
saying that.
Yeah, and a closing cost credit just means that the seller would have to pay some of your fees when you go to buying the house.
And that's where the
Yeah.
title company comes into play. I mean, your closing costs are, your title insurance, the recording fees, all the policy fees, the
Endorsements and
endorsements,
updates and-
everything that has
yeah.
to encompass in the closing.
Don't make me
There's
talk
so
about
many.
them right now.
Yeah, there are
And
so many
they will be
fees.
sleeping.
The amount of fees, and we've covered a lot of those before in earlier talks, but the fees are something that the closing cost credit would be covering. But
Yeah.
but the notice about reading that approval letter, I think, is big, because I bet you that most of the people don't. And they sit there and go, oh my gosh, I can afford $300,000. And at the bottom, and we see this as title company, and we also see this as investors, we see the bottom and it says, based on approval of credit and full,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
they just looked at them generically. They haven't gone
Giant
through.
$300,000
Right,
top?
and run.
Yeah.
They have not gone
Yeah.
through a full escrow or full
Right.
underwriting of what their abilities are. And the full underwriting of what their abilities are may say that you don't qualify at all. So that approval letter is really not as strong as what it says on the piece of paper.
Right.
But the industry takes it and goes and runs with it.
Right.
And we've seen issues with that definitely on the investment side.
On our side as well.
Yeah.
And that's why I feel it's really important, and Jax is the one who told me this, when you get that pre-approval letter, call that lender.
Right.
Communicate, because you have a mutual client at that point. Call the lender. I'm the agent, you're the lender, let's figure this out, what are we doing?
Right.
This is what
Like, what's the reality of this?
Yes,
Yeah.
this is the house that we're looking at. Is this going to work? And then if they start giving you all these contingencies, it's okay, well, now you have to go ahead and
Moving
call
on.
your client back
Right.
and figure out what we're actually doing over here.
So couple things that I was thinking about during this process, something I started to do, and I could involve the title company. I know you guys will be for this. Our buyer's consultation that you just asked them some questions with how Zoom has changed everything in COVID. People are now more adapt to these meetings.
Right.
So I'm
Right.
doing the Zoom meeting, the buyer's consultations, and I asked one of my lenders to be involved. So they are actually doing part of the Zoom
cool.
consultation
It's a good idea.
Yeah, that's a
with
great
the
idea.
client. Now, I'll talk to a client, and they've already talked to the lender, and when they try and communicate things back to me,
Yeah.
they
So much
get
miss,
lost
so
in the
much
shuffle,
lost, yeah.
and I got to call that lender and clean
Right.
that up. But if we're all in the meeting together,
makes
and you
total
could
sense.
even record it
Right.
and say, "Hey, everybody, we're recording this
Right.
meeting," then we have a clear understanding. I could go back to the client. So I had the lender there to answer questions. I had questions answered. The
Oh, yeah.
client's there when they ask, "What's FHA?" The lender is going to be more qualified to answer that question.
And there's no one
than
saying,
I
well,
am.
I talked to my lender and they said this,
Yeah.
now you're saying this.
Yes.
Like, it's a great idea.
And this works well with a lot of what we've been doing and a lot of these talks that we've been discussing. The common conversation always goes back to communication.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I guess the reality is from the title company side, from the realtor side, from the lender side, we can't stress enough that get all of the professionals involved together to be on the same page. Don't pit one against the other, or he said, she said. If you can collect them all together and make sure from the beginning that they're all on the same page going forward, this
Smooth
process is so
transaction.
much easier.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, we have sheets that we send out to you guys to give us all the information about this transaction. Give us every detail that you can telling us about this.
Yeah.
And I think that helps us, and then it helps your client, and then
yeah.
it helps the lender. This way there's no guessing and there's no issues.
Yeah.
And there's a comment section you could write in additional notes, things
Right.
that maybe aren't the general
Right.
information. I have one. My client's getting married. And
Oh, yeah,
you're welcome. Sorry, I'm so sorry.
That was a fun one Rich sent over.
Yes, yeah. I'm like, oh, by the way, here's our
BT
date.
dubs.
Yeah.
Great.
By the way, between the wedding and the closing of the contract is 3 days, and they want to close it after their wedding. So
Perfect.
Oh my.
appreciate you.
Perfect.
Love you. This is why Inspired
Perfect.
Title is so wonderful. Because they make it
October
happen.
10th they're getting married? October something, right around that.
Oh,
Yep.
wow.
Well,
I'm getting married a week after that. That's how I know.
here's what's
So in between weddings, this is great.
This
It's
is gonna
meant
be
to be.
great. I'm gonna-
Congratulations.
do that long
I'm-
before you get married.
I'm going to be
okay?
Godzilla like in October
Yes.
everywhere.
No, you are now.
Just
so
Godzilla, not
if-
Bridezilla? You're just like knocking everything over in the office.
Not Bride. I'm
He's
way
eating
over
everything in the
Bride now.
office.
Now I have flaws. It's happening.
Just keep pumping her full of sprinkled donuts. She's good.
We need sprinkles and chocolate ASAP.
That's a really nice segue because what we provide is not only food and good service, and watch Amy eat most of it. We are awesome with working in relation to.
Can I quit today?
No, it's early. It's early. It's still. I'm expecting it any moment now. A lot of times, what happens is, bye-bye. We deal with transactions that require changes in the middle of the process, and that's an example. One of those examples of people getting married. Another example is maybe during a refinance.
Do you want to buy it in her married name?
Would you like to have
Really
this?
good question.
Okay.
Sorry.
So
Side note.
one of the things is like a quitclaim deed because you're adding people to the title that is now going to be on the refi. I mean, these are things that we provide in through the process. And you notice I've been able to go while you guys still have your secondary chat. I can keep going. They can do whatever.
that's 'cause
You guys
we're
want to
like-
have your own podcast? Go.
We
Go.
hear you talk a lot, so we're just kind of.
And what we're
Talk quitclaim deed, then.
I don't want to talk quickly.
Right.
I did that in the last one.
it's a good point because we stopped this because we had a question about a client, what's in their best interest.
How's that
So
a good point? The client's not even watching.
But the client's top of our mind at all times. You can't buzz
I buzzed.
customer service.
I buzzed that. Okay.
you.
Don't put that
We
out
gotta-
of reach. Anyway, we digress.
Just you.
We talked about the deeds and facilitating the processes and things. A title company is going to be able to do that for you. In Indiana, you need the title company to do that for you. In Illinois, you're going to employ an attorney to do that for you. You guys come up with a transaction, and there's a question about, okay, well, they're not married yet, but they're going to be married, and how does that work, and what is that process, and what do we do here? The intervention of us coming in and saying, okay, you know, we'll put a quitclaim deed together, putting them both on title so they can buy the house together, et cetera, et cetera. The contract that you write up
Sorry, go ahead.
may be different, you know, and at the end game, we want the title to be in both names. Go ahead.
No, so I was gonna say, would your
Should I answer this?
guess be to do a warranty deed and then quitclaim it to the married, or like she should have legally changed her name?
Yeah.
Well, that's just one of my. So
yeah,
like,
I mean, there's a lot of different options that
Yeah.
happen with
I
this.
love, you guys are so. This is what I talked about on my last podcast, giving you guys because there's a segment about Inspire Title.
Right.
I'm like, they don't wait to come to me later. Like, we got a problem. They just come here the names.
Right.
You're a
Like
month
my brain-
ahead.
yeah.
Your brain's like, this could happen. We got to hit with.
Like, this is
and
reality.
Yes, you iron it out prior to that.
You have to.
That's why you guys are so awesome.
Yeah.
I keep giving you guys credit, and it's
Thank
not
you.
just because I love you. You guys are fun. It's because you do an incredible job on top of it.
Well, I appreciate that, and
thanks.
it's the reality is it's just for us to keep the transaction moving. The last thing we want to do is have any hiccups between the you know ready to get closed and close because oh yeah, by the way, we forgot this or you need this. We try to foreshadow that, you know, Amy doing the title ahead of time goes, wait, the contract is in this name, but they're both buying it together. There's a marriage thing.
Yeah.
We need to talk about this.
Right.
Again,
Yeah.
communication.
Gotta figure that
and
out.
like more and more, I've been noticing like when I'm sending out titles, I won't just send out a title and say, you know, here it is. Like if there's something that I'm noticing that's weird on title, I will put that like in the body of the email.
You got
because
to.
I feel like it's been happening more and more lately. Like, you know, on these refis, we've had people that, you know, they want to quitclaim it to someone, but then someone's getting taken off. So it's just like, if I leave it on the title, I feel like it's easily kind of slipped past, and people are just like, oh, I got the title, let's move on. So I've been like putting in the body of my emails, like, please note, if you want to do this, we'll have to do a quitclaim deed. Or, you know, these taxes are due in November, so make sure that we take care of that, you know, at closing and stuff.
I don't think there's such thing as over communication. In
No,
in
you're
the
right.
industry that we work in, which is hard enough already, I don't think you can over communicate stuff. People may get, you know, a little cantankerous about the fact that, oh my gosh, I'm getting a lot of emails and, you know, they're micromanaging this thing. I would rather err on that side than you've never talked to me. I have no idea who you are.
Right, you didn't tell me that.
Right.
You
I mean,
didn't give me a heads up.
Christina has walked into those situations and they're not pretty.
No, they're
You know,
rough.
they're not pretty.
They're stressful.
And there's no reason we can't do a Zoom, especially let's say this scenario and my client wants to understand the process
Right.
of the marriage.
Oh, yeah.
So let's have a Zoom meeting with the title company.
Yeah.
And we
Let's
could
go
tell
to-
you exactly what we could do A, B, or C to resolve
Right.
this issue.
And that's the
before it's
best way
even
to do it instead of coming from the realtor, like okay, stay in your lane.
Right.
This is what
So
the title company said.
we
or-
need to stay in our lane and do what we're good at. And if there's a lender question, it's like, I'm sorry, let's call the lender. I can't
Right.
answer that. I'm
Right.
not your lender. I'm not
Right.
the title company. you have to stay with that. And communication is everything, just like from agent to agent. So if we're listing or buy, you know what I mean? The communication with the other agent is major. Because if you're combative with that, what you guys are both have the same end goal.
Yeah.
Right.
Buy
Right.
and sell.
Yes.
Right? And go home at the end of the day. So why is there animosity or it shouldn't even be. You're negotiating.
My expectation would be that, you know, I would be more respected as a client if you said, let me get that answer for you. You know, I think I know the answer, but let me go talk to the people who are going to get it.
Yeah.
Versus just, you know, spitting out an answer and having it potentially be wrong. Maybe you're right, but if the option is you're not, your credibility now goes away. And your life is credibility. You're building your life on trust with your reputation of your clients. We build our reputation on servicing and you know, helping through the process and foreshadowing issues and problems, because again, I've said this 100 times. Our job, we report the news. We're literally going, here's what we know. You guys kind of, and you guys look at it and go, okay, that's what they know. Now what do we do with it? Yay.
Yeah.
And then you guys talk to us about it. We say, well, okay, well, we need A, B, C, and D to make those things go away.
Yeah.
People aren't always honest in telling you that they've got judgments. People aren't always honest in telling you that they've got, you know, tax issues and things like that.
It's like they're embarrassed about it. We're not here to judge you, though. We don't
No.
care. You have to tell us so we can clean it up to make
Right.
sure your transaction is good.
For sure.
We don't care what you have. Not that we don't care. We care about you, but we don't care about that and that. Like, we're not judging.
Judgment
we're not
free
here
zone.
for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
And
it has
we've
to
seen
be.
it all. Like
Yeah.
well,
As
not
have
all
we.
of it. I'm constantly surprised, but we've seen things like that before.
Yeah.
And I was just on the phone with the client last night and going over everything and making sure she's comfortable,
Right.
understanding, sharing information. She's like, "Oh, realtor has never talked to me like this before."
Right.
And I'm like, "Shame on them."
Right.
I'm
Right.
like, good karma, good service. I know if I continue to build my brand with those,
100%.
taking care of my clients, then I'm going to get the business. I don't need to do anything sideways in order to build my business. I don't want to do that.
No, for
I'll
sure.
never
It's
do
hard
that.
enough. Business
Yeah,
is hard
it's
enough as
too
it
much.
is. You know, and I think that's something we talk about pretty frequently in our office is it's never been our goal to be the big guy. Our goal is to really service the people that we can touch and that we can develop a relationship with and a rapport with. And you know what? That's fine. And I'm very comfortable and the team is very comfortable because you start to develop a relationship with a handful of people like
You're
you guys.
a name, not a number. You
Right.
keep your name. We know you by your name. We
Yeah.
see that address and we're like, oh, we link this to this person. It's not just
Right.
like, oh, hey, file number. Oh, hey, what was? It's like, no, I know who you are. I
Yeah.
remember you.
Not
Exactly.
bouncing around people.
Yeah.
There's 17 different people in a
No.
company.
Yeah.
It's,
No, it's
And,
important.
yeah, I know that
and
file, I got it.
everybody that we work with is right there.
Oh,
All
yeah.
You're not calling
Right there.
Texas. You're not calling over here. You're not, oh, I got to go to this building down the street.
Right.
Everybody is right there in the same building.
So I'm going to spin this a little bit and take this another direction. I had a conversation recently with some investors and some people that are kind of forecasting what's ahead. And we talk often about short sales. We talk often about the forbearance. We talk about interest rates and things. I think that with the election coming up in November, it's going to really move this place volatilely. And I don't know what that means, what that looks like, but I think in preparation of that, I think that something that we're going to start moving toward is soliciting some people or educating some people about options, do's and don'ts,
Yeah.
be careful of X, because the movie Big Short, which I mentioned last week on our podcast, was something that is very important to me.
Yeah, you're live.
Welcome, Jax.
What up, Jax?
Yep, we're gonna mic you up and get
Ready
you
to
on.
flip out our hats when
Yep.
you're ready.
Yeah,
Ladies
look
and
at that.
gentlemen.
Look at that.
That is Jax from Exit Realty. So she will be joining us live, and we'll get her on mic and get her going here pretty good. So at the end of the day, I think our hope and our goal is to really put forth some educational conversations about some of the terms that we speak about.
I know.
Short sale,
So excited.
forbearance, the interest rates and how that could play and affect what's happening, what's going on. The options that you have with this, and really, where do you go? Who do you talk to? Do you talk to an attorney? Do you talk to a real estate broker? Do you talk to your title company? Where can you go for these things? What happens if And I think these are things that we're going to start to segment out going forward in our conversations going forward and things. So we're going to try to get Jax on live with us as well, and get this going as well. So you guys take this for a minute. I think I have our next guest calling us.
Okay. Jax, you want to pop in?
So,
Hello.
real quick, I want to mention something as she
What's
gets
up, my brother?
prepared.
Yes.
We were talking about the election. So, NAR and Keeping Current Matters
It's what?
are two sources of information I have. They said the elections do not impact the overall numbers of real estate transactions for us.
Okay.
They do delay them right before the election, but then what happens is those sales and those transactions happen in the spring after the election. So it balances out, but you have a valley and a peak for the election for the real estate side, for our side
Got
of
it.
it.
All right. All right, Jax, what do
All
you
right,
do?
and then,
Hey.
So I'm coming in late to the conversation. We talked about
we are talking about everything title, real estate, client services. You're good. We have no agenda. Oh, go ahead, take a seat. There's a mic. You are. So, welcome. Why don't you introduce yourself and tell everybody who you are and how awesome you are?
So I am Jax DeAndre. I am the broker owner of Exit Realty Solutions, located in Griffith, Indiana. Team Exit today for our golf outing, and we are here at our Gnier golf outing. Super excited. It's our Indiana Association Board of Realtors throwing this together for us today.
Cool.
And we're out to mingle and network and have some fun today.
That's awesome.
And this is Miss Owner Jax, and I got to give you props. Yesterday, there's always transitions that I'm going through in my life. I'm a newer agent, and I'm going through that, and it's scary making big decisions. I'm mic'd up myself. Oh, wow! This she's like, you're gonna be talking about me.
Jax is still recovering from last night.
All right, it's been a long couple days, guys.
So yeah, I had to give her some props yesterday because I was just saying, what I'm going through and transitioning and stuff, and it's huge life decisions, huge pivots. And she's so supportive and kind and makes me feel good about it.
Oh.
So thank you for being there, not only, as the owner, but, as a mentor or coach, and people really help you through it.
Always.
So, much love, sister. And you're on the spot again. Wait, what are we gonna do like this?
Oh, we can't do the three-way?
We can
What is happening?
I don't know, but I don't like
He's trying to take over our high five.
Oh, it got worse.
A little bit more.
Wow.
Today is going to be a shit show, folks. Yes, it
Are you
is.
swearing on live
She's
Facebook?
It's
swearing.
allowed, dude. It's allowed.
I don't claim her. She's team inspired when she swears, team exit when she's behaving.
Oh, man, that's messed up.
I have no comment on any of that. I don't know what to say right now.
Usually we just do today's real. So, Wilson's like, come on, like, we're buzzed. Wilson doesn't even want to be part of this next segment.
He got embarrassed.
Wilson's like, I
Like,
want
I'll
one
fix
minute,
you.
so-
I'll fix you, Wilson.
I don't
You're
know what's
good.
happening right now.
This is crazy.
Yeah.
This is crazy. Well, thanks for joining us.
This is what happens when you go live.
All right. I did not check in yet. Go ahead.
Did you not do your thing up first?
No, we couldn't
No,
get.
they didn't let us do
It was
it
too
early.
early.
Did any of you guys?
No.
Not yet.
I'll check in for Ryan.
Can I have that coffee? Sorry.
All right, we're good.
Sorry,
Okay, we're back. All right, hey, we're back.
All right, sorry about that. Little
Thank
segue
you.
That's
of
awesome.
Jack's involvement.
Yeah, that's what we do. This is live. We grab live guests and we
Yeah.
see what we can do. And that was just a live guest. I don't know if she offered any brilliance like we do, but nonetheless she was here. Right?
was here.
It's all
Just
good.
a blast and some energy.
Yeah,
There
absolutely.
was a major energy blast.
Well,
Jack's bringing energy every
guys,
time, for sure.
that is fact. If you deal with any of the four of us or the rest of the exit team, you're going to find it to be energetic. You're going to find it to be positive, and we feed positive, and we're going to bring positive to what is maybe a negative situation or a negative circumstance. Don't worry about us bringing the good to what might be bad. We'll find it, and that's something that we also pride ourselves in. Is there's not a task or there's not anything that's too big for us to overcome, and we rally together and work together to get it done. There's no individuals on this team, and there's no individuals in what we do. We do everything as a group, and it's something that I think we're proud of. I think it's something that Jax and her team are proud of, because you find that you work better with people of the like,
Yep.
and Kristina has done a great job learning the title side as well as the real estate side, and we're so thankful to have her in our office as well, doing some closings and things. So not only does that give her a lot more credibility in the industry, where she's now out there closing transactions, she now understands both sides of it and goes, oh, I get that now, and I understand that. And she's used those exact words going, now I understand why this happens or that happens. Rich has had experience in the investment side of it, so he understands now, oh, okay, so we got to do these steps first. So we don't just have one hat that we wear. We all wear multiple hats, and in spite of this.
Look at both their faces.
That was a great segue.
We don't
wasn't
say
it?
wearing multiple hats.
Yeah.
We'll say that.
Yeah, we do wear. You have to wear multiple hats in this industry.
We'll see.
I don't think that you can't. I don't think you can do this position without wearing multiple hats. It's indicative of the industry. It's indicative of the market, and the more well versed we are in many things, I think the better off we are to providing a service for our clients. You guys both deal with investors. Is that something that you guys see investors in your business, and how do you work with them differently than you would just a regular buyer or seller?
So, yep, I deal with investors. They get calls just like other clients looking for property. So it goes back to that same topic as the buyer's consultation. It's just getting information from them.
Right.
What are you looking to do? Where are you at in the process? What do you know? Because being in the investing side first, moving over to a realtor, I do have that experience, and I could explain and understand if the client is somebody who's been investing for years, have multiple rental units or new construction or whatever they're doing, or somebody who's read a book and they're super excited and like, I want to do my first one. And they don't understand, what that means, the money down, the process, what it looks like, getting their business plan together. And I want to make sure I'm not going to just get somebody I had somebody who found some cash and they wanted to buy an investment property.
Yeah.
Well, I just don't want to do that transaction and say good luck. I'm like, put a business plan together. We'll look at that together. Again, it's close to that edge of staying in my lane, but I want to make sure they're successful for them. I just don't want another number. I just don't want another property closed on.
Yeah. So would you guys be involved in finding a house for them to invest in and selling it then?
That would be the goal, of course.
The goal would be to do both of them.
Yeah.
So do you feel like it's hard to put a number on a potential value on a home that they're going to do? How do you go about that process of when they're buying a house, they invest in it, they rehab it, and they flip it, and then they sell it?
You really have to have a full understanding of what they're going to do to it. So obviously, if it's a one-bedroom home right now and they plan on making it a 3-bed, 2-bath, you have to run the CMA for a 3-bed, 2-bath. It's obviously not a 1 anymore. So it's a lot of you running CMAs.
We can pop that up on our little when we do we'll define what a CMA is real quick for people. Yeah.
So yeah, that's
Comparative
how you
market
do it.
analysis.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's really what you have to do, and you have to be very careful with it because.
I was going to say that's a hard area.
So.
They're relying on our expertise to make a
Right.
decision. If we miss the mark for them, this is why some people, they're not huge fans of us, because they rely on us to get that number right.
Well, that was the problem.
When we miss, we don't lose money. Our
The
clients
investors
lose.
do.
The
Big
investors
time.
But
lose.
think about that, Aim. That was the 2008 miss. All of the appraisals and the market analysis being wrong is what put people in many bad situations and circumstances.
Yeah.
So that was why now a lot of realtors and more so appraisers they're a little bit more tight to where they're gonna
Well,
put
it's
something.
also you have
And
to
that
it happened to me. You have to be very particular on the specific part of town that you are running the analysis to.
If you're in this 5-mile radius,
Yeah, so just because you're in one town, it's like, okay, I can't just run it. No, if this part is better than this, and you're over in the not better, the lower value,
Right.
you have to give the CMA from the lower value. Just because you're creating something that could go in the country club doesn't mean that that's the price you're going to sell it for over in X.
So that's fun. Let me tag on to that a second. The listeners probably have sold a home throughout their lifetime. They always have a value of what their house is worth.
Right.
Okay? And that value is because Susie down the road got this or somebody else. I think the logic and the analysis to that is what? Comparing the same to same, right?
Apples and apples.
Because Susie might be in a different subdivision, a totally different town. And how do you know, right? So what happens is now The John Q. public goes, I'm selling my house, I can't wait. But the reality is it's not valued at what they are. Now you're breaking them. Now you're crushing them, right?
Yeah.
I have a $300,000 value because so and so sold it for that. You come and go, your house is worth $225.
Yeah. They also had wood floors. They also had marble
one
countertops,
thinks
marble
that.
showers. They, you know what I mean? It's like
and you could even have all those same comps
in a different area.
like 5
Different
minutes
tax,
away.
oh, yeah.
There's a subdivision 5 minutes away from the one I live in.
Right.
And I did a CMA, and I'm like, if it was in this subdivision, it's worth $80,000 more. Same exact house, but you're not there, you're here.
Right.
So, because same thing, comparing to homes
And people
within
don't like
5
hearing
minutes.
that.
Right.
No, but we have to.
Exactly.
That's what's
That's
best
your
for our
job,
clients.
yeah.
Right.
That we have to be honest and we have to be, and they'll push back.
Yeah.
No, my house is worth that much. Okay, this is what my reports are telling me.
Right. Well, so
And I'll show you why.
So isn't the answer to that, say, fine, here's what we can do. We'll put it up for a week at your number. If nobody comes by, it's not because of much more than it's the price, right?
Can I chime in on that?
Yeah.
I'm like,
So I'm
I took a breath in,
bursting
I'm like,
right now.
Kristina, you go,
I'm
girl.
bursting.
Yeah.
There's a house, okay? I have a client looking at a lake house in South Bend, right? And you're like, South Bend has a lake house? Yes, there are multiple little adorable lakes, okay? This house is adorable. They have it listed, they had it listed at $3,099.
Okay.
The highest home that sold on that lake was $239,900, completely remodeled. So I asked the agent, I go, where am I missing these comps? Where are you getting $3,099?
Skins for the team.
No, that is what they feel because of this market. They feel that it could be sold for that amount.
I paid for everything.
It's
I'm saying
been
we
on
can
for
get into the
37
skin.
days. It started
And
at
that's so long right now.
it
Like, right
started
now-
at $3,099 and it's down to $262.5 right now in 37 days. That's embarrassing as if I were the listing agent, I would be embarrassed. And I would say, and I even suggested, I go, why don't you recommend them getting an appraisal? Why don't you as their agent for the $400 order the
Right.
appraisal,
pay for it
the
yourself,
appraisal, so that way we can be like, hey, realistically, this is what we're selling the house for because
We're
when
offering this to you right now.
and it needs to be remodeled.
So why wouldn't they?
Let people get that attachment to houses. And
You
like,
have that sentimental attachment.
yeah,
Right.
that it's worth so much more than anybody could ever guess. But like,
And
you
it's
need to
like
distance yourself.
okay, potentially the house could sell if it was updated. Sure, you could create the market. You could turn around and say, hey, it is worth $300,000, and if all the other houses start building up, sure, that community you can set the value for the market 100%. But you can't list the house for $3,099 when the ceiling fans are plugged into the wall.
Right. So I say this then.
people don't actually want to sell
It's a
it.
seller's market,
You know what I mean?
but guys, I think what we're hearing from the realtors is it's not a time to be greedy.
No.
Right? It's a seller's market. That doesn't
an
mean that you
extent.
get to set your price ridiculous. If you're truthful about wanting to sell your house, trust in what the agents are telling you that their house is worth. They're not just coming up with a fictitious number going, it's about this. They've
It's
done some
realistic
research.
of what it's going to sell for.
And they want to get you the most they can, but they also don't want you to sit on it for any great lengths of time. So they're trying to find that sweet spot to get rid of it in a short period of time. The goal is not to hold on to these houses for months and months.
And like
It
I
costs
said,
money.
When
And,
houses
and
are,
I'll tell you, there's something scary. I'm sorry.
no, I was
Go
just
ahead.
gonna say, like when houses are getting sold after 12 hours on the market, and this house has been on the house for
37 days,
Right.
something's
You're in my
wrong.
head. That's what I was going
It's
to say.
crazy.
So you want to overprice your home? That's fine. We suggest against it. You still do it. You're the client. We do what's in your best interest. If we decide to go forward with this transaction with you, so we overprice it. Now the house sits and sits and sits. Now every other person that knows houses are off the market in 7 days, getting offers in the first week. So what do we have to? What is everybody thinking when they see this house? What's
Right.
wrong?
Right.
Yep.
What is wrong
Right,
with
there's
this home?
something wrong with this house.
Why is it reduced? Now you created a stigma or an
Bad
image of this
juju.
property,
Right.
and then the seller's upset and says, well, that rich realtor Rich T, terrible agent.
Yeah.
And like I recommended against it, yet I still took the contract, and then it ended up making me look bad because I'm blamed for it.
Especially when that house is going to turn around and sell for $220 and you had it at $309. That's embarrassing. As
Right.
the agent, that's embarrassing.
Right, and that happens. I mean, your credibility is hanging on what you're telling the client, and then you've got the flip side of that if you're pushing back against them, they're kind of now negative towards you. So you guys are in a really weird spot,
Yeah.
right?
But as professionals and speaking confidently, and not just telling them, hey, this is where I think we should put your house. I will always have the CMA. I'll have documentation. I'll
Right.
have everything to support that. I will offer that appraisal. And if the house value is high enough, because I don't get paid till close.
Right.
So when I pay for an appraisal for my client, that's out of pocket. And if I don't sell the house, I'm out $300-400. So it's a pretty big risk to me. But
Right.
I'm willing to do it on certain properties. I will pay for that appraisal, or I'll suggest they pay for it to show them this is a professional appraisal. This isn't my CMA. It backs the number. Let's
Yeah.
go.
Right. Right.
So if we could agree. And sometimes you just got to agree to disagree and say, I'm not the right agent for you.
And
No,
that might happen.
and that's
That's
okay.
why, yeah, you have
That's
to,
okay, because we've said that as a title company. We've had people come to us as a title company and say, I need you to waive this, do this, and we look at this and go, ethically, I'm not comfortable doing this. So I'm not going to put our license and our company in harm's way
No.
because of somebody wanting to do something that's, unscrupulous. And you guys are dealing with the same way. Again, like I said as we started this thing, the goal for us is to positively approach these things, attack these things with a positive outlook, and
Yes,
do the right
please.
thing and do the good things. So this whole team is just about doing it the right way. This whole team. Oh, there's our new model. There's our new model. Woo-hoo-hoo.
I wasn't interrupting. You guys
That's-
are in a deep
Oh no, we're
you're
live,
good.
kids.
We're live.
By the way, yeah.
Yeah, show your
Yeah.
full face.
Look at that. How are you?
good. How are
Great
you?
to see
Just
you.
don't interrupt your life.
No,
That's team spirit.
that's Team Angela right there, kids. Another exit realtor. That's gonna be
More of that high energy exit family. Like
high
under
energy.
control.
You'll see her on billboards. You're gonna see her on commercials. She's gonna be on Wheaties boxes. I don't know. I know. The sky's the limit.
Missing kid.
Well, not yet. You're not. We'll talk about that later. Thank you. Again, laughing, fun. This is who we are. This is what we do. I don't know that there's much more we need to talk about and say when you've got a positive end like that, when you come in with the excitement and energy. These people are excited to see us. We're excited to see them. This is a team. This is a family of people who can't wait to bring that excitement and that positive to you guys as well. And I don't know. I'm good closing on that because
great
I
closing
think
on
that
that.
is
Concurred.
a certain
Yeah.
high note. We're gonna go out and hack up a golf course, guys. We'll probably have some pictures that we'll post to our hacking.
Please follow our Facebook. or
Definitely
Instagram.
find,
I'm sure
yes,
there'll be some
It's
really
gonna be
cool
bad.
stuff
Facebook,
out there.
Instagram. We're gonna put this on YouTube. Subscribe. Don't forget to follow Rich T and Kristina G and their Real podcast. Guys, we're doing this, man, and we're doing it well, and we're excited about it. So why don't you come join us and come along for the ride? Until next time, we're out of here. Take care, everybody.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Hey.
I gotta do this.